Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to this live session. If you can see and hear me, please give me a thumbs up or let me know in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. That would be great. I can see we've got a couple of people here already, which is awesome. Nomadic Blue, you win the prize for first comment. Welcome along. Thank you for joining me today. It's 4 p.m. UK time. It's quite nice weather here in the UK today. Very happy to say it's good bike riding weather. Today, we're going to talk about how to spot good ideas. That's going to be our topic for today. I can see we've got OGFX from Mexico. We got Mark here. Not sure where Mark is from, but hello. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Dan from Texas. That's Big D. Dan from Texas. Mike is watching from outside my window. Really? Freaking me out, Mike. No, I don't think you are. But welcome along, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're having a great day already where you are. I know it's early doors in the Americas and elsewhere around the world. Windsorpedia is here from Nova Scotia. Peter from Macedonia. Janice is here. Hello to you. Stephen from London. Kelly from Las Vegas. Wonderful. Good to see you all here, guys. So, oh, wow. David from Bristol. Gabrielle is here. Dreamcast from Guyana. Monique from South Africa, I think. Wonderful. Great. So, let's dive into it today. I can see Rocky and Gabrielle's from Germany. Cool. So what we're going to do, let me bring up my slides here. We're going to talk about spotting great ideas and some of the things that go into making an idea really good versus, not so great, maybe. So there's some secret sauce. There's things that you can do and things that you can engineer and things that you can really be on the lookout for that make your ideas especially catchy, funny, effective, the kind of things that people respond to, and in particular buyers respond to, which is, of course, exactly what we want as we are designing, coming up with our own ideas, putting stuff out there into the world. Windsorpedia's noticed my shirt. Yeah, this is the one I got from Printful the other week. Friendly Neighborhood Mothman, my design. So, yeah, came out really nice, this one. Looks good on the black. Yeah, it's a cool shirt, if I do say so myself. Julia's here from Austria. Mr. Isan here from Indonesia. Wonderful. We got Thanos from Turin in Italy and Carol from Colorado. Sweet. So, should we dive into it today? I should say maybe just a bit of housekeeping. If you've got questions, I've got the live chat open so you can stop me at any time and ask me questions. I'll try and leave some time for questions at the end. We won't go over an hour today. I'll try and keep it as compact as I can. I don't have an incredible amount of slides, so hopefully this won't go too long today. But I will leave time for questions at the end as well. But if you feel like I'm going too fast, or you want to stop me or slow me down or revisit something that I sped through, you can do so in the live comments, in the live chat. So yeah, I can see we've got Julia here from Austria and Richard from Columbus as well. Wonderful. So let me dive into it here today. If this is the first time that you are seeing me, then my apologies. My name is Michael Essek. I'm a t-shirt designer based in Manchester in the UK, or really just south of Manchester, really. I've not been a city centre boy for a while. I've been selling on Redbubble, Merch by Amazon, TeePublic, TeeFury, Threadless, all these places for almost 10 years. And I also license my designs in some brick and mortar stores like Hot Topic and Spencer's, and some supermarkets here in the UK like Sainsbury's. So quite a broad range of channels that I sell through, and I have 10 years almost experience in creating designs, selling them online primarily, and really coming up with original stuff that's going to connect with buyers and make sales. So these are some examples of my types of designs, and these are all my designs. We'll talk about one of these in particular today. And these are a few as well that I did. You could see me wearing that one right here that we did with Printful a few weeks ago. So just wanted to share those. This is the kind of thing I create. This is my bread and butter. It's funny puns, cute characters, those kind of things that have helped me to build a business from coming up with original designs and original ideas. Windsorpedia has a question just before we crack on. How often do you get samples of your designs? Not that often, unless there's a particular issue with a design that I'm concerned about or a particular product that we're selling. Um, yeah, the other case where we might buy samples is if I want to do some advertising, some promotion, and I want to have physical, you know, products so I can take pictures and use them in ads or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I get samples very often. I know the deal in terms of like t-shirts and how to get a t-shirt that prints nice and looks good. So I don't really feel the need regularly to order samples unless there's a new product that we're selling or something like that, or we're testing out a new supplier for the first time. If we were trying a new printer, a new print-on-demand company, then I'd order some samples before we started sending those out to customers. But yeah, with Printful and a lot of the people I work with, I wouldn't feel the need to order samples regularly from those. Okay, hope that helps. Today, we're going to talk about this. Let me make this a bit bigger again. So, I've been thinking about, or it's been occurring to me that as designers and artists, what's really important is your ability to spot and discern what's good from what's not so good. And if you want to really become consistent and able to come up with ideas that sell consistently over time, so you're not just constantly kind of, flailing in the wind, but you actually have some confidence about your ideas that you're working on, then you need to become a good spotter. By which I mean you need to be able to spot good ideas. You need to be able to pick out the best ideas from a pool of potential ideas, rather than just kind of working on anything and everything that comes your way. So the illustration I've got for this, or one thing that occurred to me, is that as a designer, if you've been a designer for any length of time, maybe you're a freelance designer, maybe you work in house for a company, maybe you run your own, whatever it is, something or other. But if you're doing design, and if you've been doing that for a while, then you probably know that you don't start from complete scratch, right? If someone commissioned you to design a logo, or they commissioned you to design a flyer or a website or whatever it might be, you don't, unless you're feeling particularly like you want to, really struggle, you don't sit down and look at a blank page, right? So if it's a flyer, then you might be thinking, well, what's it for? Okay, it's for like I don't know, a club night or something like that. And then you might head over to like Pinterest, and you might do a search for like, I don't know, retro 80s flyer, and then you might just scroll through and just kind of just look, or maybe you go to Google Images or something like that. So my point is that as a designer, you're never starting from scratch, really. I remember the first time one of the first classes I had in college, when I was doing an art and design course, was the teacher got us to all sit down and just draw. She just said, draw a cow, and we all had to draw a cow. And of course, everything looks pretty terrible. She's showing the examples afterwards, and everything just looks, doesn't look anything like a cow. And that was an example, or a challenge to explain that you can't create really anything that looks great without a reference. You need something to look at. Very few of us have photographic memory. Unless you've been drawing anatomy for many years and you've kind of internalized it, then it's going to be very difficult for you to draw what looks like an accurate cow from nothing, from a blank piece of paper. But of course, if you fired up Google Images and did a search for cow, and then you'd be looking at lots of reference images, and you can just, quite easily draw a cow. And you wouldn't have to trace a cow. You could look at a few of these images and kind of piece together what a cow should look like, and figure it out. So as a designer, you don't start from nothing. You are looking at things, and you are discerning between what you want something to look like and what you don't want it to look like. For example, if you're commissioned to do an 80s retro flyer, you might go on Google Images or Pinterest, and you go, no, not really like that, not really like that. Yeah, like this is more what I've got in mind. And then you start kind of narrowing things down, and kind of pinpointing exactly what you want, and you're discerning between like the good and the bad, right? This is not what I'm looking for, this is more what I'm looking for, this kind of style. So my point here is that that's kind of how we treat design. But really the same is true for ideas, that you can't sit down at a blank piece of paper and necessarily, pop ideas into existence. You need to have things to look at. You need reference points, and you need to be able to discern between what are good ideas and what are bad ideas, or the kind of ideas that you want versus the kind of ideas that you can ignore. Does that make sense? So today, yeah, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know what you actually have in mind, then it's impossible to find it, right? If you're looking here and you don't really know um, what you're looking for in the first place, then it's not going to help you. But if you've got a vision in your head, or if you know what to look for in the first place, then it makes it easier to find it. And the same is true with ideas. If you know what to look out for, if you know some of the things, some of the indicators, then it makes finding those ideas a lot easier. So that's what I'm going to do today, is walk you through a couple of indicators for a particular type of idea. And then once you spot these out in the wild, or once you have an idea, then you can start analyzing them and go, okay, well, this has this and it has that, and therefore it's a better idea than this one. You can start kind of differentiating between your ideas. So for our use cases today, we're going to look at these two designs of mine. I wrote about these in this week's email earlier this week. So the first design is, I like big bats and I cannot lie. You other mammals cannot fly. And then this one, highway to the manger zone. So if you joined me earlier, or I should say, if you read my email earlier in the week, then you'd be familiar with kind of the basis of these designs and how they work. But for the sake of those who maybe haven't read that email, I'm just going to recap exactly what's going on here. So for I like big bats and I cannot lie, why is this a good idea, or why is it a funny idea? Why did I think it was worth turning into a design? So the core of the joke really is uh, this interplay between these two words, right? I like big butts and I cannot lie, and butts sounds like bats. So if we swap out butts for bats, we have a funny concept. Okay, does that make sense? I'm not losing anyone so far. I like big butts and I cannot lie. But sounds like bats. We can swap it out and come up with a funny idea. Okay. And just to kind of reiterate my point here, um, obviously, I did not write the lyric. I like big butts and I cannot lie. I can't take credit for that. What I have spotted or noticed in this concept, in this potential idea, is that it is funny if we swap out bats for butts, because it works. It creates a funny juxtaposition between these two things, and therefore it's a good idea. It's a better idea than just swapping out words in any random sentence. This actually works and it fits together. So that's the kind of foundation for the design. That's the core, and we could illustrate it like this, right? You got thing one, you got thing two, and they've got some kind of shared connection between them that makes for usually a funny joke or something that kind of clicks. So in this case, butts and bats, well, they sound similar, right? Two words that simply sound alike, and that's the core of our joke. That's really all it takes with a lot of these types of designs. So with highway to the manger zone, again, just to press the point, highway to the danger zone, that's the lyric or the song, and danger sounds like manger. So swap out danger for manger, and we have a decent concept there, highway to the manger zone. But there's actually more going on with these designs than just this swapping of words. Because if you think about it, you could swap out any rhyming word in any phrase. That doesn't necessarily make for a great idea, right? You could think of I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, but what's something that kind of you could swap danger with? Danger. I should have thought about this before I started going live. But any kind of word that has danger in it. Oh my goodness. Danger mouse. Manger mouse. That's actually pretty good. Um, I'm just going to see what comes up if I search for danger, or if we go over to the idioms dictionary and just do a search for danger. In the face of danger, laugh in the face of danger. So yeah, like laugh in the face of manger doesn't work, right? It doesn't really works, not really funny. It doesn't exactly click. I've got a lot of people popping in here with Stranger. Thank you very much. Stranger, Ranger. Thank you, Carol, Julie, Bo. Um, yeah, like a van with a stranger in it. It's not funny, but it rhymes. Exactly. That's my point. Thank you, Aaron. Something can rhyme without necessarily being funny or creating a funny joke. So what I wanted to just dive into here is exactly why, because that's kind of like level one. We need that rhyme because that gives us the foundational joke. But in order to actually have an idea that's really strong or that could really move people, we need a couple more indicators. So with I like big bats and I cannot lie. Of course, we've got the core. That's the butts, the bats. That's our initial juxtaposition. But we've also got this kind of thing of, and this is more subtle, but there's this kind of juxtaposition between hip hop and nature, right? So on one hand, we've got this lyric, famous kind of hip hop rap lyric, um, which has certain connotations. And then we've also got, like, on the other side, we've got like nature. We've got like bats or wildlife or whatever. We got these two kind of worlds colliding here. And that is a kind of underlying humor. It's not something that's exactly clearly, shouted from the rooftops, but it's there under the surface that gives it that extra kind of level of humor. It reminds me of this meme. So this says me listening to songs about drugs and guns while driving to Trader Joe's for oat milk and cauliflower gnocchi. That's the kind of thing that we're kind of tapping into with I Like Big Bats, right? We're talking about we're taking a lyric that has a certain connotation, not necessarily full on gangster type thing, but it's certainly that kind of vibe, and then we're mashing it together with like nature and wildlife and bats, and that kind of smushing together of those two things is creating an extra kind of level of juxtaposition and fun and humor. So not only do we have butts and bats, but we have this kind of hip hop versus nature thing going on as well. Um, so yeah, and we've got a kind of meme that just kind of helps support that theory as well. So Highway to the Manger Zone, we got the same deal as well. We got Danger Manger. That's our foundational kind of juxtaposition. That's where the initial joke comes from. We've also got this thing of, again, if we talk about combining two things or an underlying juxtaposition, we've got Christmas on one hand and we've got Top Gun. And those two things are, again, really quite different. Christmas, whatever the connotations would be with that, family, religion, safe, whatever it might be, versus Top Gun, war, fighting, jets, speed, Tom Cruise, whatever it might be. Okay, so again, like two worlds who are kind of colliding a little bit that don't typically fit together, and that's giving us an extra bit of juxtaposition. But with Highway to the Manger Zone, there's actually a couple of more things as well. There's this thing about how Highway to the Manger works because the Magi, the three kings, they were on a highway to the manger zone, right? So not only do we have like an actual just kind of basic rhyme, the rhyme itself carries a meaning which actually clicks and actually makes sense. It's not just a random word that rhymes with a word that we've replaced. It actually also fits with the kind of Christmas story with the wider context that we're talking about. So that's really good. And then finally, to tie it all together, we have the visual reference. We have the fact that I've made this design look like the Top Gun logo. It's using the Top Gun font and the colors and the layout and everything. So it looks like Top Gun, and that's allowed me to tie together this nice design that brings it all in. And just to reiterate, if we think about it, what have I done original with this design, or what's come from me in this design? Well, danger rhyming with manger, that's got nothing to do with me. I mean, I noticed that rhyme, but that's all. I didn't make those words rhyme. They exist. They are in the English language, in the English lexicon. I obviously didn't start Christmas or have anything to do with Top Gun. I didn't really make this fit. It just happens to fit. And obviously I had nothing to do with the Top Gun logo that was around before I was born. Was it? When did Top Gun come out? 1986. It was a year after I was born, actually. Um, so so yeah, I didn't have anything to do with any of these things. All I've done is notice some connections. All I've done is put two and two together and found something that hits on kind of various different levels, right? It ticks all these various different boxes. It works on a certain level with the rhyme, it works on a certain level with the wider kind of connotation. It works because it fits really well with this part of the Christmas story. And we've got graphic that we can tie it all together. So is this beginning to hopefully make sense? So this is the kind of thing that separates a poor idea from a great idea. Or even, if you had one or two of these elements, that might be a decent idea. For example, um, I like big bats and I cannot lie. That's got a couple of things. It doesn't have some of the things that this one has. It doesn't have a visual reference that I'm really making. We don't have a necessarily as good a fit. I mean, I like big bats and I cannot lie. It makes grammatical sense, but there's not really anything else going on there. So this is good and it's funny and it's original, but this one ticks on a couple of different levels as well. So this is, if we're kind of judging it on that, this is probably the highest scoring idea, if that makes sense. I'm seeing a couple of questions here. Branded Baron says, so it seems like your suggestions really is to create dad jokes. Um, yeah, well, yeah. If you think a pun is a dad joke, then yes, absolutely. I'm going to show you a slide in a second, but yeah, puns have been my bread and butter for my business. So yeah, I don't know. I don't suppose you meant that disparagingly, because everyone loves a good dad joke. Yeah, like David says, why not? Dads love graphic T-shirts. They do, and they love jokes. Broadway Lamb says, isn't using the Top Gun logo copyright infringement? Yeah, using the Top Gun logo would be copyright infringement, but this isn't the Top Gun logo. It says Manger Zone. It doesn't say Top Gun. I didn't say Top Gun anywhere. I mean, I said it here, but in the design itself, if we go back to the actual design, um, there is no Top Gun reference. There's no picture of Tom Cruise. There's no there's nothing. So I think Broadway, you are making a serious point, which is, could there be danger here? Pun unintended. Um, yes, with certain cases there are certain brands that are especially hot on references to things that look like their logo. Jack Daniels is one of them. Harley Davidson is one of them. So if you do a kind of parody like this based on their logos, you could get in trouble. But in general, as long as you're doing something pretty transformative and you're staying away from some of those more litigious brands, then it tends to be pretty safe. And of course, the big test is, are you doing something that's in any way um, likely to be confused for something to do with the original brand, or in any way infringing on what the brand's doing. So yeah, some of them are, some brands are more litigious, and I can see it. Someone saying Disney and NFL. So yeah, you do want to stay away from certain ones, but generally, this kind of stuff is safe, especially if you're being transformative and you're doing something truly original, like what we're talking about here. So the what we're really talking about is what we've done in both these examples. The fact that we've got butts and bats and danger and manger. That is the kind of foundation of our designs, and that's a method. That's a process, you could say, and I call it the rhyme and replace method. And this is a method you can use to come up with original ideas from any topic, as long as you have a word that rhymes with another word. If you've got a couple of those elements, then you can, you know, basically come up with almost unlimited ideas around your topic, and you can find designs and idea concepts like these to turn into your own designs. So the elements are there with all of, this is just to illustrate the point. Here we've got ghouls just want to have fun instead of girls just want to have fun. That's the original. We've got a word, a single word that's been swapped out because it sounds alike or it rhymes. So butts, bats, danger, manger, girls, ghouls. You have a original phrase, and then you have a replacement word that you can swap out, and that creates these rhyming puns. And of course, anyone can do this. Nobody, you know, has any ownership of a phrase or an idiom. In almost all cases, you are perfectly capable of taking a rhyming word, swapping it out, and coming up with a lot of different ideas using this principle, using this underlying method. And like I said, you'll see this everywhere. This was just today. I went on to Snorg Tees and just quickly had a look through some of their designs and just pulled out some screenshots of all the ones, or just a few that I could see that were using this principle. Snorg Tees is like $1 million, you know, dollar business. It prints a lot of their own original designs, and you can see here we've got rhyme and replace all over the place. All of the otter reindeer instead of all of the other reindeer. Winosaur instead of dinosaur. Party time instead of party time. Whatever floats your goat instead of whatever floats your boat. I yam what I yam instead of I am what I am. Sorry, I've got plants tonight. So plants instead of plans. I won't hesitate. Beach instead of I won't hesitate. B word. Fleece Navidad instead of Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. So yeah, this was just to illustrate the point that if you're looking for a method or a principle that sells a lot of t-shirts, that generates great concepts for t-shirts and other products too, of course, then you could go a lot worse than simply following this method, following this principle to come up with original ideas. And you think about how many potential ideas there are out there. There's something like um, estimates vary, but there's somewhere between like 150,000, like 300,000 words in the English language. There's something like 10,000 different rhyming categories, that is, rhyming sounds, which all the English words would fit into. So think about, and then of course, every day almost, there are new phrases, lyrics, slang terms, idioms, titles, names, movies, whatever it might be, all these kind of things coming out constantly, and so there's constantly new opportunities to find, you know, design concepts that work and that work on these different levels. And of course, here we've got some that work on various different levels. You know, Feliz Navidad, obviously Christmas reference, makes for a nice idea to put a sheep in a Christmas setup. So there's lots of different ways to not just to come. So basically you can come up with that initial idea, and then you can look out for, okay, is there a nice way to frame this visually? Is there an extra kind of, you know, underlying joke that's really working well here, or something like that? So just to share some examples there, and then what I wanted to do is just reiterate, some of you may have seen this before, but for those who haven't, just to show how simple this is to use, how simple it is to make use of this method for whatever it is you're trying to design for. So if we took a topic, for example, like sloths, then we could try and find a rhyming word with that. So, or a related word, sorry. So let's use our topic is sloths, and let's pick a word related to sloths. And the trick here is to try and find a word that's likely to have lots of rhyming words with it. So don't pick a word that's too long or has too many syllables. Try and pick one that's pretty short that you can kind of think of at least a couple of rhyming words. So lazy, and then we could head over to like rhymezone.com, which is completely free, and you can just type in your word there. So I can type in lazy, and then we can see all the different words that rhyme with lazy. So it's going to break them down by syllables, but we've got crazy, daisy, hazy are the ones that are kind of like proper words, if you like. But you can read through some of the others. Maybe some of the others stand out to you. And yeah, we've got then a couple of rhyming words we can use. So rhymezone.com, and then if we just pick one of those, so let's just pick the word crazy, and then what we want to do is head over to, we've already been there, the idioms section of the free dictionary, and then we can just search for crazy, and this is going to give us Here we go. Loads of loads of idioms, that is phrases, well-known phrases that include the word crazy. So crazy as a loon, crazy bone, stir crazy, crazy about you, and so on. And so I did find one that I liked there. I picked crazy about you. And then all you have to do is just like swap crazy for lazy, okay? Crazy about you becomes lazy about you. And that became this design, which you can see here. This is the print from Printful, one of our products, and this is the final design that I created. So that's where the idea came from, and then it was just up to me to illustrate that in my style and put it together in a nice, aesthetically pleasing way. And this is not again, this is an idea that's not exactly like firing on all cylinders. It kind of makes grammatical sense. There's not really any kind of underlying meaning behind it, but it is a kind of nice phrase. It kind of rolls off the tongue. It makes sense. People can look at it and get the joke, all because of this juxtaposition, this thing between lazy and crazy. That's really all that powers this concept. That's all that's going on there. So that's how simple it can be. And you think about how we only took like one word there. We just took like crazy, but there's other words that rhyme with that, and that's just one word related to sloths. I mean, how many other words can you think of related to sloths, like slow or climb or hang, or we could. And those are just like verbs. We could do things they eat or where they live or whatever it might be. So the potential is, pretty significant. There's a lot of opportunity, I should say. There's a lot of opportunity out there to spot things like this that haven't been seen before. And really, your job should really become, rather than trying to come up with stuff original, as in staring at a blank piece of paper, trying desperately to use your brain to try and force an idea out. You can just use methods like this, and you can use free tools, of course, to come up with original ideas and make it easier for you to find things that haven't been done before, where there's a blue ocean, where you're not chasing bestsellers, and where you have an opportunity to inject your own illustration, your own style, do your own thing on a concept, on an underlying concept that people are going to get and that's going to click with them and that's going to work really well. So that's the rhyme and replace method. And just to kind of reiterate, you want to look for popular or frequently used words. So for your initial word, for your related word, look for words that are popular or at least kind of well known, and that are likely to have lots of rhyming options. And when you do that, that's going to make it easier. And then look for additional or underlying juxtapositions when you're looking through the possibilities, when you're looking through the idioms dictionary. Look out for, is there anything here that kind of works on a couple of levels, or something that can kind of work with a nice graphic, like crazy bones could be like lazy bones. I don't know. You could have a bone in there somehow. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, you will see in your mind as you're looking through some of these ideas how these things could come together. Just like with Highway to the Manger Zone, that initially started popping off potential visuals of how to visualize that. So once you've got a foundation, once you've got a core idea, then you can build from that. Look for stuff that makes sense, i.e., makes sense grammatically, but also fits within the context. So again, Highway to the Manger Zone is a good example of that. It makes sense on a couple of levels. It's grammatically correct, but it's also fits because the Magi were on a highway to the Manger Zone. So that really works. And look for visual hookups. So if you've got something like the Top Gun logo or a kind of graphic reference that you can play off of somehow, doesn't have to be a logo, could just be a kind of style or something. Could be something like with I like big bats and I cannot lie. One of the things I could have done was take that that kind of reference to hip hop and make it look kind of like that, make it look like So Mix-a-Lot, make it look like do some kind of gangster rap kind of font and style to make it look that way. That could have been a visual direction I could have taken it in. So those are some tips for rhyme and replace. What I like to do is just show you quickly how I come up with these really quickly. And I've basically taken these principles and put them together into software that allows me to do this really quickly. So the software is called Ideally, and it's at ideally.app. It is a paid software, but I just want to show you how simple this can be. We have a rhyme and replace tool inside the software, and I can put in a word here like lazy, and then that's going to go and it's going to do a search for all the rhyming words. So not just one rhyming word at a time, but it's going to like search for all the potential rhyming words. And then it's going to do a search for all the potential idioms based on that. And not just idioms, but other things as well, like any other kind of references. We got like movies and lyrics and nursery rhymes and songs. And you can see here some of the results that come up. And we've got, we can like filter this by popular movies like Lazy and the Tramp or Lazy Heart, Drive Me Lazy. Songs, Lazy in Love, Lazy Train, Lazy Marmalade. Memes as well is another thing we can do. So this basically takes all the hard work out of it. So I can put any kind of word in here. Let's do another example. Like what was the ones I was looking at here? We got like crabs here. I thought that was kind of funny. So we could do a search for beach. See what comes back there. Or of course, like if you wanted to do some like crab related designs, you could put in any word related to crabs. You could do like claw or snap or I don't know, any kind of word you can think of, especially like little short words where you think there's going to be some nice kind of rhyming matches. This makes it possible to like just see almost not quite infinite possibilities, but a lot of possibilities quickly in one fail swoop. And the reason it takes a while sometimes for this to load is because it's actually going and searching through tens of thousands of possibilities. So this one here is brought back just in this particular idiom section. I'll beach there for you, beach right back. It's good to beach back. Beach gay do crime. B word beach crazy. Peace beach with you. So you'll see like some of these don't make grammatical sense off the bat, but then there's other ones which will just kind of work really well, like beach my baby. That's kind of nice. And you can see I'm favoriting these, and they're going to be saved in my ideas section. That actually like saves the ideas for later. So you can see how easy it is to like go through these and come up with some original ideas really quickly. So that's the rhyme and replace tool inside Ideally. Aaron's got one there. Beaches, beach, beachy. And Aaron's got an idea and he's going to go and make it. Cool. It's not out there yet. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're all about, coming up with ideas and then going and doing them, actually turning them into designs, not just coming up with ideas. So this method, this rhyme and replace method that I've shown you, and just kind of tap the surface of it really. This is a little bit like this, like that's the rhyme and replace method, and there's actually like loads of other methods, like loads more. It's really cool, this, isn't it? Like that's the Earth, that's the sun, and that's Sirius 395, and that's your mama. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, this is kind of what it is. Like you've got one method. This is just one method. Like the rhyme and replace method is just one way. This particular method is just one way of coming up with ideas. There's actually a lot more. There's a whole universe, if you like, of other methods and bigger methods. And just to illustrate the point, like this idea here, this represents rhyme and replace. That's like, Berry instead of Mary. But each one of these ideas, each one of these designs, these are all representing a different method. Like this one is like what I call plug-in phrases, where you insert, you kind of have a fill in the blank phrase that you can change and adapt. This one's like a parody. So it's kind of like what we did with Highway to the Manger Zone, but this is just more of a straight parody. This one's like a rhyming slogan. So it's not actually like a well-known phrase. I suppose now it is, but it's like an original phrase. Whoever first came up with it, fries before guys. It just works because it rhymes, and there's like a method you can follow to come up with such ideas. Same here with like this visual one or this pun here, which isn't actually like a replacement pun. It's not like a rhyming word pun. It's just a perception pun. It's based on the perception of the word. There's like double meaning going on there. Sasquatch, that one's like an internal pun that's going on there. And I'm just here for the booze. That's kind of like a combination of a few things. So basically, there's more than just one way of doing this. There's more than just one method, and there's actually lots of methods. And I've actually organized them. I've got 14 different methods currently and running, and rhyme and replace is just one of them. You can see that there. That's rhyme and replace. That's the one I've shared with you here today. But I've actually, not only have I broken down and figured out a load more different methods, I've actually put them together and taught them. I've put together classes where I teach them like this, and I actually go through each of these methods and teach you a way to come up with original ideas that are actually much more likely to sell based on proven principles, proven frameworks that will actually help you make ideas that click with your potential buyers and make your life so much easier. So if you are interested in learning more and you want more of this kind of content, if you want to learn the method for coming up with these types of ideas or these types of ideas or these types of ideas, maybe you're an artist and you're really good at graphics, you're really good at drawing and colors and layout, but you just don't know how to come up with a funny joke. You just don't know how to come up with something that clicks, or when you do and you think you've got it, it just never really seems to work. Then this could really be for you, the ability to learn absolutely everything about all these different methods, so that anytime you've got a brief or a project or a niche or a market or a trend, you can just come along and plug it into any of these methods and come up with loads of ideas. And the best thing is that I don't just teach you the method, I actually give you the tools as well. So I give you Ideally, which is my software. You get access to that. And this doesn't just do rhyming ones. You probably guessed by seeing the different tools down the side, but we have all these different tools that do different things to help you come up with different ideas. We've got a fill in the blank maker. We've got a tool that helps you come up with visual ideas. We've got now a wizard, which will actually go through all of the different tools and spit out more ideas than anyone could ever conceivably need. So we basically got a lot of different things to work from and that you can brainstorm from. And that's all inside Ideally, and that's included inside my Ideas Workshop. In fact, you get 12 months of Ideally Unlimited, which means you can do unlimited searches, you can save unlimited ideas, you can have as many projects as you like, all for free, which would be $648. So it's all inside the Ideas Workshop. I won't go into too much detail on it now, but just to say that it includes the course, it includes all these methods, my teaching, my video course where I walk you through all these methods, hands-on, show you exactly how to do it. The Ideally software that basically comes up with ideas for you and allows you to brainstorm stuff incredibly quickly. Really, stuff that's catchy, that's trendy, that's on trend, that really clicks. And also, we have bi-weekly live calls. We're actually doing calls every week at the moment, but we committed to like a minimum of 2 calls a week, 2 live calls a month. And in those, we do, questions and answers, feedback, reviews. We're currently doing a Father's Day challenge for next week. So not only do I give you the course and the tools, but actually I'm there week in, week out for you to talk with and get help with. And if you've got a design or you've got an idea or you've got a concept you need help with, you want to refine it, make it better, then I'm here for you on that front as well. We have a couple of bonuses as well. We have 2 classes. The first one's called the Total Trends Toolkit. This is a deep dive into a short-term trend that hit last year, which I hopped on and made some sales on very quickly. It was a kind of viral hit that worked really well. And I basically break down that whole case study and teach you exactly how I came up with that idea, how I executed it, how I uploaded it, and everything. It made me a few $100s, I think $300 or something over the course of a week. And it was just like one simple idea that took me half an hour to do. So I break all that down in the Total Trends Toolkit. That is $199 if you want to buy it on my site. It's actually included for free when you join the Ideas Workshop. And on top of that, we got a brand new course called Designing T-shirts the Right Way, where I do a deep dive into the technical side of going from an idea to an actual finished design. This design that you see here, the designs I've recently produced with Printful, these are all kind of case studies from that particular course. And I'm actually teaching in that course exactly how I came through and walked through that whole process. So that course is not out yet. I'm going to be releasing that soon as a standalone course. That's going to be $199. But again, that's free. It's a 7-session course over 7 hours of content, and that's free when you join the Ideas Workshop. So just to show you exactly what's included, if you are interested, the Ideas Workshop course is $549. The Ideally Unlimited account, that's $648 value. We have the bi-weekly live calls, the Total Trends Toolkit, and the Designing T-shirts the Right Way course. So total value is well over $1,000. But today, and for the next week, you can actually join for $549 only. And that includes all the future updates to the course, unlimited access to the tools, to Ideally, to the software. You can lock in that price, so it won't be raised on you. That price will stick for as long as you're a member. And you also have 14 days to try it out and see if it's a good fit for you. So you can have 14 days of playing with the software, checking out some of the videos, joining us on a live call. And if you still think it's not for you, then you can just ask for your money back. I do have a kind of slightly more stringent refund policy than that. Like, you can't just come in and watch all the videos and then ask for your money back. But check out the refund policy if you're concerned about that. But if you are interested, michaelessek.com/workshop is the place to find out more. I believe there's a link in the description. And that's the Ideas Workshop offer, which is currently open to new members right now. So I'll be happy to take any questions you have on that. If you've got questions about the Ideas Workshop or about the rhyme and replace method that we talked about, or anything in general, we have about 5 minutes. We can go here. I'm just going to scroll back through and see if there's any questions that I've missed. And I will pop the link also to the Ideas Workshop there in the comments, so you can check that out if you're interested. Barbara had a question earlier on. Let me take that one while we're here. Barbara said, is there a way to research copyrights? So copyright isn't something that's actually registered as such. You can register your copyright. Your copyright basically comes into force whenever you create a design. So if for example, when I created my I Like Big Bats design, the moment I finished that design and published it, so like uploaded it or posted it on the internet, it's then copyrighted. I own the copyright to it because I created it. I don't have to register it anywhere. I don't have to register it with a legal body or the government body. I own the copyright when it's created. Now, the difficulty comes if you believe you're going to have legal issues or you're going to want to defend your copyright of that design in a court. And in that case, you would want to register it with USPTO or someone like that in order to protect you from potential copycats or infringers of your artwork. Now, you don't have to register it, but it does make like the legal situation a lot easier if you are looking at going down that route. So really, but it does cost money to register. So I've never registered the copyright of any of my designs. It just is the cost is inhibitive. It's not economically viable for me to register the copyright for a couple of thousand designs. It's not worth it. The only way it would be worth it is if you were pretty sure that you were going to be ripped off. So you're pretty sure that you've got a design here which is especially strong and you want to protect it because you think someone is potentially going to come after you, or someone's going to copy you and copy that design, and you want to then be prepared to take them to court, and because of that you're going to register the copyright. So that's not something I'm particularly interested in right now. I do know that some people do kind of register the designs and they do go after people in court and they can be successful. But personally, it's not something that I'd rather be creating new stuff than pursuing people in the courts right now. Maybe that'll change, but at the moment, that's That's how I think about it. Deepak has a question here. Deepak, I'm not getting any traffic to my Redbubble and TeePublic stores. Any ideas? Redbubble and TeePublic don't guarantee you traffic. There's there's nothing that says they're going to give you a little bit of traffic every month or whatever, or they'll give you the opportunity to get traffic. That they are based on a search platform. So if people aren't searching for the stuff that you have in your store, then you will never get any traffic in the first place. So it really begins with creating something that someone is going to be searching for, and that you can also rank for and get hits for and get visits for. So for example, you don't want to do "I love New York" t-shirt, because although people are searching for it, it's going to be super high competition. It's going to be very difficult to rank for that design. So this is why I recommend coming up with original ideas and original jokes and original concepts. But I don't recommend doing original stuff, that stands completely on its own, detached from anything people are searching for. That's why I recommend having a topic or a subject in mind, or a trend that you're attacking, and then coming up with original ideas based on that trend or based on that topic. And then if you do that, there should be searches on Redbubble and TeePublic, people searching for that stuff, and then you're able to get a piece of that traffic action. So hopefully that makes sense. There's no underlying rule. There's no law that says that Redbubble have to give you any traffic, or TeePublic either. You're basically they're like an empty store that's saying, okay, you can come and put your stuff here if you like, and it's up to you to actually figure out a way to create something that someone wants and get it in front of that person. And Redbubble and TeePublic are saying, hey, if someone comes up and shows up and types in this search box, then they can find your stuff in theory, if they're looking for it and you have it and no one's in the way blocking you. So yeah, there's hoops you have to jump through, but my recommendation would be design things that people want and that they're looking for, and do it in such a way that you are not likely to be facing high competition from others on that platform. And that usually means trends, very niche, very low competition areas where you have a blue ocean that other people don't have access to. Carol, good question. We probably could use a class on marketing. Yes, I'm sure, and we'll definitely cover that. But that's kind of covered actually inside the Ideas Workshop, because Total Trends Toolkit is essentially a lot of my best tips and tricks on marketing, because that's kind of how I've had the most successes with trends and doing relevant topical stuff that people are searching for. And those principles have worked for me, for several years. I don't do paid advertising. I've dabbled with it, but I don't do it consistently. So really organic marketing and meeting people where they're at on trends and on topical stuff has really been what works for me. So yeah, if you're looking for a marketing class to really hone your skills, then don't be put off by the title Total Trends Toolkit. It's really about a lot of the foundational marketing principles that have worked for me. Deepak made a t-shirt with the illustration of Lana Del Rey cartoon illustration and the tagline around the illustration, "Summertime Sweatiness." It was removed by RB. I'm sorry to hear that, Deepak. My commiserations. I don't really know what to advise in that case. Deepak says maybe because I had used keywords in it, but if I didn't use those keywords, no one would have found it. Yeah, this is the eternal struggle between original stuff that's not going to be too highly competitive versus something that people are searching for. And this is why it really helps to know something about a topic, to know it in detail, and to know enough to not infringe or to do something that's too risky. And it sounds like you're probably playing a bit too close to the fire there, Deepak. Okay. Any other questions here before we wrap up? We've got a couple of minutes here. Just to recap, of course, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the rhyme and replace method and dived into why that's a really good skill to have, not just the method, but also the things to look out for when you're generating ideas like this. So not just, the actual kind of core of the rhyme and replace method, that replacement rhyming word, but the other things that really help it work. So that extra level of something, the Christmas versus Top Gun, the hip hop versus nature, that kind of underlying juxtaposition that helps us. And then also, if you can tie in like a visual there as well, that really works well. Um, there's a few ways I do this inside, ideally, just to show you. Like if we do, well, let's do a search for lazy and slow and hang here inside the wizard. We just do a quick search here. Um, Especially this thing of finding a visual match. That's something that really can help your designs to take off, because it's kind of like, you're giving people a visual cue that they can work with. So when you do that, you're kind of making life really easy for yourself when it comes to coming up with original ideas and looking for something that actually clicks on multiple levels. So so that's why I say, look out for, wherever possible, visual hookups, visual associations that will really click and make sense. And if you can do that, you're basically making it really easy for you to go from idea to design, because you've got the idea and all you have to do is like render it and put it together in a design that makes sense and that people can visually understand. And that's so much easier if you've got a visual that actually does all that for you. So that's a really important principle to play with. And we include that inside. Ideally, we've got like visual references that we make use of and that you can kind of scroll through. I'll just show you that here. Like for example, here I've done a search in the wizard, and you can see we actually incorporate visuals inside certain phrases. So where we've got phrases that have a visual match, like live, laugh, love, that would kind of have this kind of um, typically would have a kind of association of a graphic, something like this. And so we include that to just kind of help your brain kind of nudge it in the right direction. Or if you're doing the lazy bunch, then you could do a load of sloths that look like the lazy bunch. Or getting loser, we're lazy. Um, Again, sloth in a car. You can kind of see these ideas come to life in front of you, and all you've got to do is kind of put the elements together, and and see it all. You just got to do that final little bit of work. So just want to share that with you, the visual hookups. So yeah, if you're interested in the ideas workshop, you got all the details there on your screen, michaelessek.com/workshop, if you want to join us inside. And if you have any questions about it, you can email me, michael@michaelessek.com. Windowpedia says, can you imagine having an AI image making plugin with Ideally in the future? Yeah, I mean, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? Basically, you'd be completely out of a job with very little effort required going forwards. But yeah, I don't think the AI is quite there yet. But yeah, there is absolutely developments in that area. It's certainly something that I've thought about, and would be interesting to see how that develops in the coming years. I do think we're probably a year or so out, from a couple of years out, maybe, from something like that. But absolutely, that's something that's probably coming down the tracks, and we are looking at with interest inside Ideally. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions come in, so I think we can wrap it up there for today. So we have almost gone an hour, so that's good. We just come in under. Hope you had a good time here today. Hope you learned something about rhyme and replace and coming up with your own ideas. And you've got a new method there that you can use, or at least maybe if you already knew the method, hopefully I've given you a couple of extra pointers to walk you along the way. And if you want more like that, like I said, this is really just scratching the surface of one particular method. There's actually much bigger and even better ways to come up with ideas than this. So if you want to kind of see the whole universe of ideas, then the Ideas Workshop is for you. You can find out all the details on there. I should also mention, just before we go, we have a split pay option as well. So if $549 is a bit of a big chunk, you can split that over 2 months or 3 months right now. So check out michaelessek.com/workshop. Go to the checkout page, and you'll see the different split pay options that we have available right now as well. All right. Thank you guys for joining me today. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, David. Hope you got something out of this. And if you've got any questions, you can email me, michael@michaelessek.com. You can tweet me. You can Message me on Instagram. I'm on all the places at Michael Essek, and hope you got something out of it. I'll talk to you soon, and I think we'll do another one next week. So hopefully same time, same bat place, same bat channel next week. All right, thanks guys. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye.